That was what me going away to another island to a school far away from home was all about. I ran away from home in a way because it didn't want to end up in a life where I ended up hating them for it, especially when it was my decision at the end of the day, right? I can only go so far in life to blame them for my decisions because of the influence that they've had on me. Hey everyone, this is Chris, or Champan Bro. This is a little bit more of a different video that I'm making today compared to what I've been usually posting. As you can see, I'm playing Pokemon Scarlet. I'm playing this game for the first time. This is the game that I've been playing on my off time. I've played all the other Pokemon games, and this is the one that I haven't played yet because I've only just had my Switch 2. I never wanted to go play it on my Switch 1 because of the graphics and stuff, but I'm a big Pokemon fan. But that's not the main point of this video here. What I really want to talk about here is a little bit of myself. I'm going to share to you a little story of probably one of the most pivotal moments in my life, which was to drop out of college. By no means am I saying that college is not worth it. There's degrees that you can leverage to go create a career out of, but unfortunately I was not one of those students that was able to go do that very thing. Growing up, I lived a little bit more of a sheltered life. I had really strict parents. I was the good kid that had straight A's. I was basically the kid that did everything what he was told to do, all for the purpose of trying to set myself up for a good life, right? And it was like that for like majority of my childhood. But as I got older, I think it probably started around like 9th grade when I turned 13 or whatever, I started having a lot of questions about my purpose in life. I guess just like life in general. Well, how many sunflower do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we're good to go already. But as I was getting older, I started having a lot of questions. I think it started around like, I don't know, 13 years old, or like what, freshman year of high school. But yeah, I was basically questioning like what the purpose of the stuff that I was doing for, right? Like I said, I was a kid that was just doing everything what his parents and teachers said just because you'll set yourself up for the future, right? But I've had a lot of those why questions, the purpose behind stuff like that. I've had straight A's, right? But the more I thought about it during that time, the more I realized that I was really just like hustling for grades and stuff. Purpose was such a missing part of my life that I'd never really gotten to explore, so I started having a lot of questions about all that stuff throughout my high school years. And there was I don't know what gave me the thought, but I kept thinking to myself that there's gotta be, not like there's more to life than just studying, but more so, how does this translate into the real world? But unfortunately, I was still a young kid, I was still lost, still didn't know what to do, and so I was stuck with just doing the thing that I was most comfortable at, which was following what I was told to do. And that kept up even past high school. Still the good boy, graduated high school, I was a valedictorian, had honor classes and everything. And then after that, I attended a college pretty far away from home. When it was time for me to choose my college, I'm gonna tell you this right now, during that time, I felt like university was really the only option, bro. Like it was so far to the point where I couldn't even think about the military. The one time I asked my mom if I could go to the military instead, she was like, "Nope, you're gonna die." And then I just folded. I was like, "Oh, okay, no military then." So I went to go look for a university. Ideally, I should have chosen to go to a university close to home, right? Save money and all that. But I chose to go to one that was on a totally different island. I live in Hawaii. It's still within the state, but I wanted to go somewhere far away from home. And in a way, it was kind of like a way for me to explore and look for the answers for the questions that I've always been asking. Because I knew I was never gonna go find it at home. So I went the high road. Not only that, but it was also within my means. Not financially, but more so, I guess, within my parents' means at that point, right? Like what they were looking for, they just want me to go to college. So it was like a nice little balance of me fulfilling what they wanted me to do, but at the same time, I'm also in an environment, in a space where I could really think about how I'm going to navigate my life as I get older. The good news was, I had enough scholarships to cover my first year, so financially it wasn't too big of a deal. I was able to take care of myself during that time. So then, at that point, I did the usual class things, right? I signed up for all my classes. I signed up for classes that I thought I would be interested in. I chose a film degree because during that time I started making YouTube videos for fun, and so I really wanted to get into like some sort of like digital media art or whatever. So I chose film. I figured film would probably give me the classes to help me learn skills with editing or storyboarding or stuff like that, I guess. I figured I was like the closest thing that I would enjoy out of all the degrees in that list. I also took computer science. I wanted to learn how to code, and then basically for the rest of this class, I basically chose the rest of my classes based on how easy they were. To be truly honest, computer science and film were really the only classes that I was really paying attention and like to truly learn. Freshman year, general ed class is usually useless, right? But that was the case for me. I basically hustled all of my grades and everything, and that carried on to my college classes. And when you really think back on it, it's not really a good thing to do, right? And so I spent the whole entire first semester. Oh jeez. Whoa. Yeah, take care of that. I was trying to coast through the classes so I could use all that time to make YouTube vlogs. I spent a lot of my good time exploring the island. I had a really fun time in college, dorming there, making new friends, traveling. I went hiking a lot. I have all my old vlogs posted, but despite all of that, the questions that I've always had in high school kept coming back. Every now and then I would constantly think to myself about my situation. Let's go back to what I just mentioned. I had enough scholarships to cover my stay for 1 year, right? That was one of the biggest things that ate at me during that time there. I was like, what about the rest of the years, right? The school that I chose is actually kind of expensive. I'm not gonna lie. I chose University of Hawaii at Manoa. Now, I'm sure Manoa is a really good school, right? But finances were the biggest things that were eating away at me in the back of my mind. That purpose was still another massive thing, right? I was trying to look at this logically now, too. I took up a film degree, but I don't know if Hawaii is the place for me to leverage that kind of degree. Now, I don't really have a plan to move to the mainland anytime soon, right? To the States. So I had to think to myself, what about like the near future here? Staying in Manoa was basically like I think it was like $20,000 a year. It was a hefty bill. So I was adding all that up, bro. I was like, oh, if I stay here for 4 more years with a degree that I can't leverage, that's $60,000 in debt with no job. Again, what is all this for? Right? And so as I got farther into the classes, the more I'm starting to realize that I'm probably not even built for this environment. It didn't feel right being here. And it didn't feel right for me to stay there too. There was too many reasons for me to not be able to stay there. And so by the time that winter break came up, the thought of dropping out started to come out. At first I was like, oh man, I can't do this. This is gonna break my parents' heart. The idea of dropping out means I'm gonna be a failure, right? But at the same time, if I stay here, I'm gonna put myself into a trap here. I feel like logically I'm not gonna be able to set myself up. It was like a constant back and forth for my whole entire second semester. And I could never be more confused, could never be more, I guess, regretful or angry in my life. But the farther I've gotten into the second semester, the more that feeling of regret and anxiousness started to grow. It's getting serious. I gotta make a decision pretty soon. And so, it took a little while, but I finally decided to pull the plug. I decided that I'm gonna go take a gap year. I'm gonna take that proper time to actually explore for myself. To really think about how I'm gonna set myself up so I don't end up putting myself into a position of regret, or at the very least in a position where I can't pull myself out of. And so the summertime came on. Oh my god, that's a core memory, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, that genuinely was a core memory for me, because by the time summer break came, right, random day in like June, watching anime on my phone on the couch, and my dad asked me, "Oh, did you already sign up for your classes for the next year?" I thought to myself at that very moment, okay, this is the time. I have to break the news to him. And so, the way I did it in a very nonchalant way. I was like, in a very casual way. I told him, "Oh yeah, I'm just letting you know, I'm taking a gap year. I'm taking off of school." And I saw the look on his face, bro. It was like anger, disappointment, distraught. Bro was shocked. His heart broke. It broke, and it pained me to see him that way, because I was the good kid that wanted to make his parents proud. Right? There's a big crab on the wall. I gotta go get to him at some point. But I knew at that point I couldn't explain to him why I wanted to make that decision. Right? You cannot blame your parents for stuff like this, because times have changed. Especially with the topic of college in mind. Because my parents grew up in the generation where the same thing happened to me, except at like a much fuller scale. College was really the only answer for them, and it really only made money for them, bro. And I understood that. They grew up on that. I had that thought while I was still hard. Well, it broke my heart to see them that way. But like I said, it was either to disappoint them now and to set myself up properly, than to make a decision that I can't pull myself out of and hate them after that. That was what me going away to another island, to a school far away from home, was all about. I ran away from home, in a way, because I didn't want to end up in a life where I ended up hating them for it. Especially when it was my decision at the end of the day, right? I can only go so far in life to blame them for my decisions, because of the influence that they've had on me. I didn't want that. I didn't want that. So I dropped out. Lived on my own to like another city for like 2 years. And I finally came back. Now knowing not exactly what I wanted to do, but at the very least come up with something better. I made a lot of mistakes in my life at that point. But I always think to myself that at the very least, that was a decision that I made on my own. It was nobody else's. Nobody influenced me to. And so I don't regret it. Really, I don't really know where I'm getting at this. Right? This is just a simple story time of how I got myself into this situation. And like I said, college is really not bad at all. There's degrees in college that can create a career for you. That is worth going to. But it wasn't for me, and that was the main point. My life at that point was a constant struggle between leading my life or getting led by somebody else. You wanna see the Pokemon team I'm rocking right now so far in Scarlet? Whenever I play Pokemon games, I like to use Pokemon that I've never used yet. But I got Vulcan, the Larvesta. Quex, the Quax Whale. Got Rufflet, the Braviary. Or... Oh no, I got Rufus, the Rufflet. I've always wanted a Rufflet. I've always wanted to have a Rufflet on my team at some point. But in Black and White and Black and White 2, these things level up at like level 57, bro. I really wanted that as my flying type. It was so sad. I think this is my favorite flying type, bro. And then I got Rufus, the Rockruff. I plan on having like a... Oh man, I don't know what else to have on my team. Maybe like some sort of grass type, perhaps. Maybe an electric type. My 6th slot. Maybe I'd have something like more interesting. I don't know. I'll think about it. I want to have like a... The main thing is I'm using Pokemon that I've never used before. But aside from that, I think that's it for my little story time here. Hopefully I made the video in a way where you can understand it. But that's just my little story of adolescence. I had a lot of questions growing up. I had a very strong aching feeling. And it turned out that dropping out of college, was my most pivotal moment in life. If there's a main takeaway from this video, is that there's answers for everything. You just gotta go out and look for it by yourself. Because no one else is gonna do it for you. That's it. But if you enjoyed the video, let me know. I can make more of these storytime videos. I'm having fun doing that so far. And I'm gonna go fight me a crab here. With that being said, thank you for listening. And I'll see you on... Whoa! Where's that crab going? Okay, I'll see you guys later.